guys. Just waiting for Melanie Jarnson right now. So excited to have her on our show, and excited to be the host for this amazingly talented actress. I just looked through some of her rehearsals and her clips, and man, she's got mad talent. I was so engaged watching it the whole time. Hey.
Hi. Oh. Oh yeah. Okay.
How
Can
are
you hear
you?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's your rehearsal?
It's nerve-wracking. It's with the
Is it? What was it for?
Mortal Kombat.
Right. I saw that you mentioned that in the email. What exactly is your role in Mortal Kombat?
It's Nitara. Have you played the game?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So she's like a vampire. We just did the makeup test on Friday, so I got to see what she's gonna look like, and she looks really creepy. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
So is this gonna be a movie or a show?
No, it's going to be a movie. So we actually just booked this one. We booked Blacklight, which was going to be my first movie, but my agent managed to slip this one in right before we begin filming the other one. So I get to get some film experience before shooting with Blacklight, which is good.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were able to get on call with me. I didn't think it was gonna happen today, but I'm definitely glad we can do this.
So sorry. Yeah, thank you for being so patient with me. Where are you, actually?
I'm in Bangkok right now, actually. I was born in Bangkok, and I still can't speak the language.
Wow. I sucked at English for a really long time. So,
Damn.
And I'm in an English-speaking country, so I look a lot worse, trust me. Because in Thailand, if you can't speak Thai, it's cute. Here, if you make mistakes, you just get shat on for a long time. Yeah.
But it seemed like you've naturally picked up the accent living in Australia.
Yeah, because my mum is Australian.
Right.
So my English has always come from my mum until I went to to an American international school in my late teens. But before that, I was going to French international schools. So my English was just coming from my mum for a really long time. Yeah.
You went to a French international school, even in
Bangkok?
Bangkok?
Yeah, actually, my first international school in Bangkok was the French international school. So when I was 4, we moved to Brussels for 4 years, and then obviously I had to learn French there. And then when we went back to Bangkok, my parents didn't want me to lose the French from Brussels, so they sent me to the LFIB in Bangkok, the French international school. And then after that, when we went to Mumbai, we went to the French international school there. And when I came back to Mumbai, I actually went to an American international school. So the first time I actually learned in English, I was like 15.
Wow.
So, yeah, which I try to explain to people when I make mistakes here. That okay, I didn't start learning in English until I was 15, so cut me a bit of slack. But
yeah,
they don't believe me when I tell them that. So.
No, because I do have a few friends who went to Lycée Français over here in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And
t'as l'accent, huh? You have a good French accent.
I've hung out with a lot of French people, like all my life. And like my friends were from there. And
cool.
I mean, a lot of them did struggle with speaking English, though. So like, I'm really impressed with how well you picked it up. That's really cool.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't have an excuse because my mom always spoke to me in English.
Right.
So it's actually bad that I still make mistakes because French is so much more complicated than English, so I don't really have an excuse.
But. Okay. I mean, if that's what you have to tell yourself to keep yourself trying harder.
Obviously, knowing I don't speak good English is what puts me to sleep at night. Just reminding myself that. Mm-hmm. But yeah. No, but thank you for having me. Honestly, this is very nice.
No, of course, it's my pleasure. I've sort of known of you since you've been in Bangkok. But
Really?
yeah, like Georgia Bazanka, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
GG.
I think even on Facebook, your last name is her last
It's
name.
like her. Yeah, I actually have made it my middle name now because my dad's afraid that when the movies come out and people look me up, that they're going to think
Yeah,
my last name is Zanka. So
yeah,
I've actually changed it back
right,
to
right.
old Jarson, and we're still listed as married on Facebook. Yeah,
I think I did see that. Yeah. So like
yeah,
she went to BPS. So
yeah, yeah.
that
I
was
was so
same
jealous
level.
of people that went to BPS. Where did you go?
I went to BPS.
Oh man, I'm so jealous of you. I always wanted to go to BPS.
Why is
I
that?
went, did you know RIS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that RIS was a really conservative high school with oh my gosh, it was like they sent young expats there, young expat teachers there, giving them like a nice deal to live and just teach in Asia. So you had a lot of like really young and competent teachers teaching in like one of the most expensive international schools. And my parents only sent me there because we get a concession. So I got a concession to learn at RIS because my father's a diplomat and they have a program for diplomats. So
Right.
I because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to afford it. But we couldn't afford BPS, and I was always so jealous because BPS had a waiting list. BPS was really, really popular.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I was there since kindergarten, so I don't think
For
there was.
you, it's normal, but me, it's like. Did you do IB?
I did. I did. It was a rough road, but I got by.
Relax. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
my.
Was there quarantine in Australia?
It was. It's weird. It's really weird because I've owned the furthest I've gone in my career has been through coronavirus. So
Wow.
as soon as quarantine hit, I was talking to Netflix producers and showrunners for a show next year on Netflix. And then after that, I was just getting final two for literally everything I went for, and which is actually a lot more difficult than when you don't get a response. So this entire pandemic, as horrific as it is, and as many hurdles that it's introduced to everyone's lives, for me, being at home for some reason made my work better, and I did really well with the American clients or potential clients. And when I did the makeup test, I was actually getting tested at the Nine Perfect Strangers film set with Nicole Kidman and Luke Evans, and everyone's trailers like right there. Because in December I'm going to be shooting with Liam Neeson and the creator of Ozark, and it's like really hitting me now that, oh my god, I'm going to get all of this. What's it called? Imposter syndrome. I had hectic imposter syndrome when they were testing my makeup for Natara in Byron Bay. So it was just like, wow. It was just so weird because they flew me to Byron Bay that morning and then they flew me back to Sydney that night. And I was still processing where I was and what I'm about to do next week with Mortal Kombat. And it's obviously that's not the same caliber of project as Blacklight, but still, it's just all happened so quickly during the pandemic.
Wow. That
I
is
don't know, something in the air.
that's amazing though.
Yeah, it's
Must
crazy.
must feel
Scary.
so great. Yeah, it must feel so great that in an unstable and unsure time you managed to progress yourself so much. That is
Yeah, I think it's because as an actor, I've always done best when I'm struggling, and I've always done best when when I'm not at ease, because that's when you want to escape yourself the most, and that's when you're going to do a better job of being someone else. So I think that because the pandemic was so stressful, not necessarily, I was really privileged in the sense that I didn't get sick or anything, and in Sydney it's been quite fine. And to be honest, all the American projects are coming here now because of the way the restrictions have been here. It's been quite good. So despite all of that, it was really stressful, and I think that it just brought a lot more truth to the audition process. And it's honestly so much better to audition from the comfort of your own home than going and meeting casting directors and doing it in the room and only having one go. Like when you shoot audition tapes, you can do as many as you want, and you send the best one over to them.
right.
So yeah, but yeah, it's been I feel really, really lucky to have any type of certainty at a time when so many people don't have that. And for a long time, I was convinced that I wasn't going to book anything ever again. And because I just kept getting final two, and I was like, maybe you know how you have like the friend zone? I thought, okay, I belong in the final two zone. I'm the girl who's like just right enough for roles, but not quite right enough for the role. And then we booked Blacklight, and I was like crying for 2 days because like any type of certainty is so good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now I'm experiencing some Wi-Fi issues. Like your video has just been lagging for me. So let me just get this on.
Has anything come through?
Okay, I've done that. How long did the quarantine actually last for you, or is it still going on? Have you been able to go out and meet your friends, or have you been restricted in that manner?
No, we've been our quarantine ended months ago. So we had quarantine in, it was such a while ago, I don't even remember how long the quarantine was. I just know that it was in March because I had a shoot that day and then I had to lock down that night. I think we were in lockdown for maybe 2 weeks or a month.
Okay.
So we were really, I think so. I'm not sure. I think maybe it was a month or maybe 2 months, something like that. But it wasn't very long. How long was your lockdown?
So I was actually in the US when this all started. I was in my final semester at university. I started my university in 2016 with Trump being elected, and I ended it in 2020 with the coronavirus pandemic. It has been
sorry.
It has been up and down road throughout.
That's hectic.
Super hectic.
Oh. Are you okay?
I'm okay. You know, I've got a good support system, and I've managed to stay happy. You know, I think that's really important in these times. I feel like a lot of people have been expressing a lot about how they're just not happy with what's going on, and they worked their whole 4 years to get their graduation, but they're not considering that they still got their degree. They still, you know, have their families to go back to. They could get back to their families faster, but a lot of people still think about that celebration, you know. They're really, really caught up in the celebration. They're like, man, we want to wear our cap and gown, go on stage, have our parents be proud of us while we're on stage. And then, like, meet all our friends' parents too, right? Like, that's a huge part of graduation. It's that those relationships that you built over those 4 years, you get to build them further when you meet their families, like your friends' families, and actually get to know each other even more.
Yeah.
So it was a little rough that way for a lot of people, but I've managed to stay happy with my support system, and I'm actually working now at a financial services company called D Money in Bangkok.
What?
Yeah, so I got a job really fast.
Was that the plan, to go back to Bangkok and work back home?
So the plan was to go back to Bangkok. 2 years into uni in the States, I realized that Bangkok was the place for me. My parents really missed me that whole time, and it's not like I didn't miss them, but I wasn't able to show them that they mean a lot to me. And I feel like as time went by, I felt the need to stay closer to them. I wanted to come back and work with my dad on our business. We have a business of our own, but my dad's really traditional. He's like, I get that we have our own business, but you need to go out there and work and earn for yourself. Like that should be the first step of your life, that you earn your own money and you support yourself and you go through that struggle, you know, like.
Oh my gosh, that's really amazing. Look at you booking like right out of uni as well. That's insane.
I did not expect it. I got really, really lucky. This opportunity came by. I decided to go for the interview and I got it. So I was really happy. I get to get the experience in really early.
Congratulations. That's insane. I don't think I've ever heard of that. That's I haven't even graduated uni. I dropped out after like a year.
at least you were able to follow your dreams. You know, I've been pushing my dreams behind all these years. Even while I was in uni, I was like, man, what am I doing with my life? I want to be an artist. I write my own songs. I want to be a talk show host and have my own show, like I'm doing with you right now. But
Congratulations, you're doing it.
I'm doing it. It's just going really slow because I have to work that 9 to 6, and then I'm drained after that. So it really takes a lot of energy, and there's not enough time to do everything according to the timeline that I created for myself. So
yeah, right. But I mean, if you're working and also doing this, that's some real diligence, you know, especially in the middle of the pandemic.
I appreciate the acknowledgement. I try to feel better about it, but I definitely have so much respect for how you have pursued what you wanted to pursue so diligently, that too, and so, what do you call, bravely, so bravely. Like, you bravely went out and was like, this is what I want to do, and you did it.
Oh my god, it took me hitting rock bottom, honestly. It wasn't like I came to Australia and I was supposed to go to uni and then I was supposed to finish and then I was supposed to go to film school, and it really took me like hitting rock bottom and having no one, and because we moved countries every 3-4 years and I thought it would be a cakewalk in Sydney, and it was so difficult. It was the most difficult move of my life. I don't even know why. It's a developed country. It's safe, which not all developed countries are, but the infrastructure here is good, you know. But it was really, really, really difficult. And I didn't graduate uni. I didn't graduate film school. I didn't graduate high school because I got out of high school a year early to go to uni here. And I didn't even finish that. So it was a really, I think I spent 2 years doing nothing, like being completely useless, having no money, not doing anything with myself. And it's only at the end of 2018 that I actually got an agent and did something. And then as soon as I got an agent, I booked the show. And it was like, okay, obviously I can work if this is the skill set I have. And I wish there was a playbook for actors on the process of doing it, because you really, it's so crappy that no one talks about this, but you really can't do anything until you have an agent. And I think it's the least talked about process in this entire business. It's like we don't want other actors to know how to get hold of an agent, which is actually so easy, but no one tells people how to do it. And then nobody has one. And then they're like me, they sit around for 2 years and they don't do anything. And then you might have some really ridiculously talented people out there, but they don't know how to put themselves out there, because as of right now, you cannot actually be an actor without an agent. I think the only actor who doesn't have an agent is Leonardo DiCaprio, and he uses his lawyer, which is kind of what agents are supposed to do as well. But you're not allowed to get money sent directly to you, and that's also Leonardo DiCaprio. But yeah, when we're talking about it, and then they just have to send one dramatic scene and one comedic scene to the top agents, and then the mid-tier agents, and then you're good to go. But people don't know that. People think they need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on showreels that don't get you anywhere, because agents don't actually like showreels because they're too edited. So I found that out the hard way. And then after that, as soon as I got an agent, I was working. I think it's just crazy that people don't talk about it. It's wild.
Right. That is, I learned a lot there, actually. It's really interesting. But what exactly inspired you to be an actor? Was there a particular person that you got inspired by, or was it a movie? Was it a show? What was it?
I always loved Lord of the Rings because of my family, and then when I was 4 and we were in Brussels at the time, we were watching Return of the King, and I thought that because I was 4, I thought that it was all like a documentary, and the movies were not movies. Movies were just real life. And I was just wondering, where are the cameras? How come we never see the cameras? And how come the cameraman isn't getting killed by the spider. I don't understand how Frodo's getting away. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I was mind blown, and then my mum explained to me, that it's acting and it's a movie, and then I think after grieving the fact that none of that was real and not ever being able to go to Middle Earth, I was like, okay, well, what's the next step below that? The closest I can get to to that world, and that's obviously acting and pretending like you're there. So I decided to go the denial route and pretend I'm in Middle Earth, and I'm still trying to do that. Yeah. So that's that. I don't know if that memory is still a memory, if I'm just remembering the memory, but my mom still remembers that vividly. So that's how I decided I wanted to become an actor. Was when I realized
that's such a unique experience. You know, someone would just have like something that a person that they were inspired by, or like a drama. Like when they were in school, they were in a drama club or something like that. But you have like a particular scene, a particular movie.
I'm just.
What is that?
That's J.R. Tolkien.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah. It's probably the most fucked up scene in the whole films, like in the whole trilogy, is this spider trying to kill Frodo. I was like, that's I want to act. That one. That's the one I would love to create. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. And they're shooting the series now in New Zealand, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I was shooting the show, then I was under contract, and the casting director, she'd come to my agent and said, I really want to see Mel for Lord of the Rings for the series. And he told her that I was on option for Between Two Worlds, and under contract I wasn't allowed to go for it at the time. And she went to my agent and said, get her off that fucking show. So that is my biggest regret to this day.
My God.
Yeah. He didn't tell me this until afterwards. He didn't tell me this. This was in the middle of 2019 when this conversation happened between them. And then this year in January, on my birthday, on the 30th, they released me from my contract. So they had me in this lock-in contract for a year. And he told me, just so you know, this is what happened. So now we can go for it again. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? That is my number one dream. I don't care about the contract. I would have breached the contract and spent whatever money I needed to spend just to have a shot at that project. You know?
Wow.
But anyway.
Yeah.
I'll try and feel like a tree or an ant, you know. Anything. Just I'll hold boom mic up. I don't care. I want to be involved with it.
I'm sure after you are successfully involved in that, you will definitely, like, when you look in the mirror, you'll definitely see that kid staring back at you like, you did it, you made it, and this is what you had to do, and you've done it.
I think it might be one of those projects where it's like meeting your hero. Maybe you're not meant to do, you know, the one that you've always wanted to do. You'll fuck up or something. You just won't, you know what I mean? I don't know. It might be one of those projects where it's too important for you to do a good job, you know? Right. Yeah. That's what I'm telling myself unless I book it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah. You should definitely do it though, regardless. Whenever you get the opportunity, I'm sure you will go for it.
Trust me, I would jump at it. I've already tried to tell Kirsty that I'll go for an ant or an orc. I don't care. Just please let me do something in Lord of the Rings. Just one thing. Like a cameo. A log in the background. Anything. Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm guessing Lord of the Rings or the series is going to be one of your top 3 series of all time, basically.
Maybe. It might be really bad. You never know. I think the movies? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The movies, yes. I thought you meant the upcoming series.
No. The movies.
Oh, yeah. Because the series Jeff Bezos is producing, and the director of Pacific Rim is directing it, I think. But that could
Wow,
be really cool.
that
Yeah.
could be really cool, actually.
Yeah. No, the films for sure. Best films of all time.
Okay,
Which is
so
like right down the middle. People either hate them or love them.
right.
They're like anyone's neutral about them.
So other than Lord of the Rings, name me two other movies that are your favorite that you've watched, or it could be ones that you've been like, oh, I want to be in the next part of this movie.
Whoa. Have you seen Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
No, I haven't actually.
I think it was 1964 or 65, something like that. So it's
Okay.
Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. And anything Elizabeth Taylor was in was amazing. So in my opinion, that will be my dream role. So because they love remaking everything. If they ever remade Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, that would be my dream role, I think, for sure. I would want to be in the modern version of that.
Right.
I think, what's another one? I really, really, really love fantasy. I'm just trying to, we've already spoken about Lord of the Rings, so I'm just trying to get away from fantasy. Series or film, you said?
It could be like film or film series, but not a TV show yet. We'll get to the TV shows next.
Oh, okay. Film or film series.
Yeah.
I would love to be Bond. That would be the best. I think
Right.
you're that. I've already said that.
I've seen that in your article with Daily Telegraph.
Yeah. I would love to be Bond. Love, love, love to be like the equivalent of a Bond, or just one Bond film, even if it's a joke and they're taking the piss. I just one Bond film as like an antagonist or as a Bond equivalent. That would be really great. That would be awesome, I think, because I always know this until someone asks me. You know, I think we'll come back to that maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If it just brings up in your mind, you can just shout it out and be like, "Yo, wait, stop! This is it."
It'll come up when we finish the call. You'll hang up and I'm, oh my gosh, that was the fun. Yeah. Have you seen The Favourite? Actually, it was amazing. It got Olivia Colman got the Oscar for it. It's
wow.
I don't know how to explain it. It's a satirical period drama, but also comedy, and it's so good. I just read a script this morning that was it wasn't for me, it was for someone else, but it was it's basically Mozart's story reimagined, but only with people of color. So there's like so much more layer to their stories, and so much more like pain and struggle, and so much more depth to them, and it's such a heartbreaking script, but it's so amazing. It's like Amadeus but POC, and it's so cool.
Wow.
That looks like, yeah. So I think if I could do The Favourite like that, where it's just people of color, like the version of that, because The Favourite is Emma Stone and Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz, and they're amazing. But just imagine if we had it set in Southeast Asia, which virtually nothing is. That would be amazing, I think.
Yeah.
That.
I think I'm gonna look these things up right after our interview. I need to be caught up on these great movies.
Yeah. You got the recording though, so you can just.
Top 3 actors of all time.
I actually don't have favorite actors.
No?
I have favorite performances.
Okay.
But I've never had like a favorite actor. I know I was talking about Elizabeth Taylor, but I still like to avoid
particular people rather than the characters that they play and perform.
I fall in love with characters and performances for sure, but I just can't, because I guess as an actor, I know that it's so unpredictable what you're going to do with something, and it could be terrible or it could.
Absolutely. So, we can shift the question to top 3 performances.
Yeah.
All time.
So Phoebe Waller-Bridge in Fleabag.
Oh my god, that is one of my favorite too. It's one of my favorites.
Really?
Absolutely.
She is so good.
So good.
I'm in love with her. I have the biggest crush on her.
You know that feeling when a guy you like sends you a text at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday night asking if he can come and find you, and you've accidentally made it out like you've just got in yourself, so you have to get out of bed, drink half a bottle of wine, get in the shower, shave everything, dig out some agent provocateur business, suspend about the whole bit, and wait by the door until the buzzer goes. And then you open the door to him like you've almost forgotten he's coming over. Oh. Hi.
Hey.
Have you seen Maniac?
No, I haven't seen Maniac.
It's really good.
Okay, definitely gonna get that on my list too.
Really, 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 really good. It's like Fleabag level good. It's really good. Do you know Kirby Howell Baptiste?
I do not. I do not.
She's really underrated. She's in The Good Place and Killing Eve. And she's not famous. I don't know how she's not famous, but she's in all of these amazing shows. And I think she really shines. So she's always playing smaller roles, but she's always a standout. You know what I mean?
So who was she in The Good Place?
She's what's his name's girlfriend. You know, the guy who can't make decisions. He's always can't make a choice.
Is it Jason? Oh no. It's I know you're talking about.
The philosopher.
Yeah, the philosopher who can never make decisions. Right, like he's always confused about what the right decision is, and he just like spends way too much time on that. And
so remember when we go to Australia, and then he gets a girlfriend in Australia who's also a professor, and she's wonderful.
Oh my god, I remember at like the research lab place, right? Yeah.
So she's also in Killing Eve, the first season. She's incredible and so fucking funny and talented and effortless. I'm always looking at people that are effortless, and I feel like they sometimes slip under the radar, but that makes them all that much more interesting. And you know Ajay Devgan?
Ajay Devgan?
Yeah.
What do you? No way. Like, is he? Wait. I don't know if we're talking about the same guy. What?
Yeah,
in Bollywood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's in Once Upon a Time in. I lived in India for 4 years.
Oh right, yeah.
He's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So when he plays the big mob boss, and he does an insane performance.
Yeah.
In the whole film.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the best acting I've ever seen. I've not.
Wow.
I thought that was really, really good. That was one of my favorite performances. That's always stuck in my mind.
Wow.
From childhood. Yeah, he's good, and he's got a really, I don't know, like sinister face when he acts.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he does happy roles, it's just I like people that look sinister and look like a little bit heartbroken all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah, so he's I think he's beautiful.
Very interesting. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I would not have assumed that you had taken someone out of Bollywood. It's so cool.
Yeah, of course. Bollywood's got incredible performances. Bollywood really shaped my passion for acting, because I was 11 to 14, and you know that was like coming, I think, into adolescence. So it was the years within which I changed the most, probably mentally and physically, obviously. So yeah, I went onto a few film sets when we were living there, and that was the first time I was ever on a film set, was when I was in India, and we were just visiting film sets. We were watching Deepika Padukone and Neil, I can't remember what his last name is, but she was playing a blind ice skater or a blind skater.
Right. I think it's Lafange Parinde. Maybe.
हाँ, but बहुत अच्छा है.
बहुत अच्छा है. Very nice. Yeah, it was. Lafange Parinde. It was Lafange Parinde.
Yeah. So we knew Neil, who was in it. Or,
Yeah.
Nitin Mukesh. Neil
Nitin Mukesh. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So we were at his place, and then he took us to set with him. Well, we were like kids. We were so small. I was so tiny, and she was so tall, and they were both like such big people and so unreal. And I thought, oh, okay, so you can't really be an actor unless you're statuesque and you look like a goddess. That's like the thing I realized was shit. I was so short for my age. And she looked larger than life in person. She's just so beautiful and so unreal. She's such a beautiful woman. It's crazy.
She is. She's one of the biggest, most successful actresses in Bollywood, even until today.
Yeah. She was punching out so many movies. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like every week, I don't know how they did it, because it would be so exhausting because lines, and then Bollywood movies weren't emotionally what's the word? They weren't emotionally void. They were really, really emotionally intense. Like you had to get really upset or cry and then laugh, and like the happiness was really happy and the sadness was really, really sad.
Right.
And then on top of that, a lot of the time you have to also dance. I'm like, how do you do all of that in like 10 times a month? You know, so many projects.
So many dances. There are so many dances that they have to learn to perfection, and with so much energy, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you actually have to be good at it. Yeah. If that was a requirement in Hollywood, I would not have ever booked a project, because I swear people pay me to not dance. I'm so physically uncoordinated. It's insane. It's amazing. I would honestly never book a role if that was the case in Hollywood. If you had to be good at dancing.
I'm sure through all your struggle, you've learned to work on yourself so well that you would have learned how to dance too.
I've been trying to, and I suck.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that one person in dance class where people are like, I don't think she should try anymore. She just needs to go home and accept that it's like I'm like Mick Jagger with 2 left feet. It's just never going to happen. It's never, ever going to, I cannot coordinate no matter what. I've tried hip hop, tried jazz, funk, hip hop, nothing.
I'll take your word for it for now. Let's go back to why you were at Neil Nitin Mukesh's house. How did that happen?
I don't even know. I was because I was going to the French school in Bombay.
Okay.
And one of my friends, her dad worked for L'Oreal, and I think he was like a senior, I don't know what position he was. And my dad was Consul General of Thailand in Mumbai at the time. So we knew Shashi Kapoor and his kids and Kunal Kapoor, and so they came over to our house a lot for events. Mm-hmm. And then I think that meshed. And my friend knew Nitin because of her dad's job at L'Oreal, and then he knew of me because of my connection with the Kapoors. I was at his house. It was awesome. He was really nice.
That's very cool.
Yeah. He's really fair.
Yeah.
Really, really, really. And he's got like blue eyes, and he's beautiful. So I think has to be Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Ajay, and either Mahershala Ali in Green Book and Moonlight, or who else have I said?
The Good Place.
Kobe Howell Batchy.
Yeah.
Or Michaela Cole. Oh my God, there's so many really good performances. There's so many good performances, but they've all shaped me.
That's so cool. Like, I'm glad I asked that question because that led us down the conversation of your time and your influence from Bollywood. And
Yeah.
since my show is going to be premiered on the Brown Rappers Network, which is targeted towards Asian and the South Asian community in particular, I'm sure they're gonna be so fascinated about your journey and your influence from that. That's super cool.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, I don't even know. I think that anyone that would have been exposed to that would have definitely taken that away with them. You know, it's you're oversaturated with art because film is such a massive industry though that they're always punching things out. And there were so many incredible performances that I watched there, like Fashion with Priyanka Chopra before she went to Hollywood. That was one of her best performances, I think, when she did Fashion.
Oh yeah,
that was the most. It was oof, and I don't think they had dancing or singing in that one, or maybe they did at the end when she died.
They did either, but
I think they did at the end when what's her name died.
Kangana Ranaut.
Who?
I think it was Kangana Ranaut. Right?
Oh yeah, Ranaut.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
She's gorgeous and she's such a good actress. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Top 3 shows.
Yeah. Fleabag. Yeah, Maniac is really good. And Bojack Horseman. Bojack Horseman's my favorite show.
Wow.
I cried. I grieved it for 2 days. My boyfriend actually had to cradle me. I cried when it finished. Like, I wasn't. He did. I mean, he's home now, but
yeah,
that's truth. I was crying on the couch. Did you ever watch Wilfred?
No.
The Elijah Wood and then that dog guy, and they always smoked pot.
What?
It was such a good show.
You think it'll still be good if you watch it now?
Yeah, it was. I think that's where I raised my standards.
Okay.
It was the weirdest thing when I started watching it. I didn't want to watch it. It was one of my guy friends in high school. When I was at RAS, we would always go to like this little cafe that no one else went to in the school, and we would just watch it. And we wouldn't eat lunch or breakfast. We would just watch the show, like sharing earphones, and that was all we did. And if we could, sometimes when we were in math class, we would watch it. And that's all. That's probably why I didn't graduate high school. Was Wilfred, but.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be a really good show. If you're
another one of those. I have so much. I'm so happy. I have so much to watch after I get off this call with you.
At the moment, I think it's a really tough, rough time to tell you to watch Black Mirror because it's the type of show that you actually need recovery from, and I think everyone can agree on that. When they watch religiously, they need a recovery time. Some of the episodes are so, but then it's like getting a tattoo. Because you've survived the pain, you want to go through it again. It's really weird. I'm not a horror fan at all, but and I never thought I would like thrillers because they tend to stress. Funnily enough, I'm literally only acting in thrillers, but it's so addictive if you actually get into it. The writing is so incredible, and it's an anthology, so all the episodes are different, and you're always going to learn something new from each episode. I would honestly highly recommend when you have the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, to watch it properly. It's actually worth watching. It's a really, really, really good writing. It's really, really good writing. I think just so that you can say that you did it. Yeah. I know that's not a reason to watch something, but it doesn't take that much time. They only have like 4 episodes a season.
Right. I just feel like it's just completely dark, you know? It's just dark.
It is.
And
it is.
It's just dark. Yeah, it's just dark. Whereas Bojack, like, I could watch Bojack, and I love Bojack. Bojack
is so
dark. It's so dark, but there's just,
feel like that.
I mean, there's just something about Bojack that
looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It looks beautiful. It means really beautiful things. Like, sure, everything that they're showing in the show is about him making the wrong decision or him getting fucked up just because, like, you know, he can't deal. But, like, that taught me so much about keeping your thoughts open and, like, actually choosing your decision, because these bad decisions come in your mind. They come in everyone's minds, and you don't have to act on them. But the beauty of the show is that Bojack does it for you.
I know. And the first time I watched Bojack, I think I never wanted to watch it. I had no interest in watching it. And I literally just put it on because I just tapped on it. Like, it's not like I came across it. It was literally just an accident. And then wow, I was immediately taken by the animation, and it was exactly like LA. Like, it's all animated, but it's somehow looks exactly like LA in real life. I don't know how it manages to do that. If the houses in the hills look exactly like the houses in the hills, the skies look exactly like the smoke from the skies, and then the celebrity sort of behavior. Because in music, I've worked and met and know a few, like, people who are really, really big, and some of them way too big for their own good. And they honestly, I watched the show after previously, like, just visiting one of them in LA, and they were like exactly the same person. It's just you're so big and famous that nobody's calling you out, and you just end up making all of these terrible decisions, and there's like this insecurity and not really knowing your place, despite the fact that everyone knows you. And then there's that whole has-been situation. It's so accurate.
It is, and the fact that even though we may feel that he gets away with a lot of things, or that celebrity will get away with a lot of things, the impact it has on their minds and their actions later on is so heavy, because it always comes back to him, right? He's like, fuck, I did fuck up. I did fuck up that person's life. Fuck. And then they'll indulge and, like, fuck more shit up, and then they'll just feel guilty the whole time, and it's just insane.
Yeah, it's funny because their conscience always seems to be very foggy. It's almost like it like physically affects them, like in terms of, you know, how emotion affects, you know, the way your body reacts. But almost like he still can't clock exactly what accountability really means.
Yeah.
You know, real accountability for things like that for a normal person would be a lot more hectic. And I guess a lot more straightforward, unless you're a narcissist.
So I'll talk to you a little bit about the article that was written about you for Daily Telegraph. You recently featured on that, and you spoke strongly about breaking stereotypes, to refuse to put yourself on a path to being a side piece attraction. And in your words, like a token piece, you know, like a typical quiet, ambiguous, mixed race character who doesn't have an interesting story.
Yeah.
And that's when you related to not being a Bond girl, but actually being Bond himself in a role. So I believe when I read this was when I reached out to you for the first time. I've known of this person from school through mutual friends, and I know she's gone to go do some work in films or modeling, etc., etc. But that article in particular gave me a scope into your personality, a scope into your personality and how you think and how you want to, let's say, evolve the industry, not just be a part of it. So I believe that spoke volumes, and choosing good roles is a big part of your ability to be attractive for even better roles. However, the aspect of breaking stereotypes, in your words, was fighting the good fight. And in the same way, you inspired me, and I'm sure many others have been uplifted by your words to keep wanting better, to keep choosing better, and not settling.
Yeah.
Indian, I've noticed so many roles being given to Indians in Hollywood, in like Hollywood shows and movies, that are usually like a shop owner or a taxi driver who gets made fun of for their accent, or for not being able to be understood, or something, like something just like you said, either quiet, loud, but still ambiguous.
Yeah, usually an accessory.
Right, usually an accessory. So tell me more about if, how, and when you've gone through an experience like this, or watched others go through a similar experience of being typecast into a role because of their ethnic look, or regardless of whether they are better for the role or not.
I come across this all the time with my closest friends, with the people that I love the most in my life, with the people who are the closest in my life. This is something we're talking about every single day. And it's probably the most frustrating thing to watch ever. You see people I think one of the most frustrating things is that what's going around at the moment now, that there is a change happening and there's a swell of voices being projected out into the world and saying, okay, this is an issue, we're not being represented, and you're holding yourself back by not representing us, because you're cutting yourself short of a massive audience that doesn't feel represented on screen. And one of the most influential forms of media is film and TV, because that's what is everyone doing at the moment when they're at home in the middle of a pandemic. They turn to that. So it is really important, and it changes lives. And what's been going around is, now that there is that change, is that white people are coming out and saying, oh, there aren't any roles for white people anymore. All they want is ethnics. And people of color, and that's all they want in briefs now. And I just think that's fucking bullshit. My partner said this so well. He's like, turn this TV on, especially in Australia. Turn the TV on. White people. Yeah. The most diverse roles are given to white people. Blonde white actresses are playing Asians on screen. They're playing people that are 40 years older than themselves, They're playing, the range is huge for them. They can go from serious to sexualized, which is not okay, but they can go from that to serious roles, to sexualized roles, to accessory roles if you want, but also to terrifying roles, to Asian roles. And nobody bats a fucking eyelid. And then the moment that a person of color books one lead role, all the white people go, oh my God, where are my jobs? Because to them, because they've been up here the whole time, when people come up to that level, they feel like they've come down here. The whole time the rest of the world has been down here, and all the people of color have been down here. And it's like, when we finally get to come up to the surface, they're like, oh my gosh, it's suffocating. There's too many people at this table. But so I think, as a woman who looks white a lot of the time, I look ambiguous. I look ambiguous in tapes, but at the end of the day, you can make me look Caucasian so easily. I feel a lot of the time like I'm that easily castable ethnic because I'm comfortably light enough for you, that it's like, okay, she looks like a lead because leads look white. That's what the industry has decided. And but we know that she's Thai, so that's really convenient for us. We get to tick that box and go, we were diverse. And I feel that, and I know that that's a really bold thing to say, but I can feel the difference between how people cast me and how people cast people that I love and know that are really talented, and how they don't even cross the desk a lot of the time. And someone that I really, really, really love, I was talking to a casting director, and they were saying how they were trying to find a role, and then her colleague came back and went, oh, well, why don't we cast this person because diversity? And then that's why he got the role, and it was a great role. But I was like, didn't you cast him because he's fucking ridiculously talented? Why did it have to be because diversity? And they go, oh, that was really good of us to do that, to think about that. But it's like, that's not something you think about. This is someone who's really talented, and you refused to look at them from that angle. You had to look at them from a diversity angle because he happened to be a person of color. And especially for my friends who are Indian, it's the roughest fight for Indian actors in Australia because there are no stories being written for them. I mean, when in the show that I was in, the Indian actor who's really, really talented was playing a doctor, and that was it. That was the only person of color we had. I am Eurasian, and my father is Thai, and yet I was the first person cast in the entire show. The whole show, I was the only person cast for the longest time. So you have this liberty and free space to cast my parents, and they never at any point looked at an Asian actor or actress. They only saw white actors for my parents, and they never saw any Asian actors. And when I asked them why, they said because there aren't any, and that's not true. Because obviously there was an Indian actor who's really talented and he's done a lot of hectic work, and they put him in a doctor's role. And it was a smaller role. So there are Asian actors out there. They didn't even consider that to be an option. And I go, if I just looked slightly more Thai, I don't think I would be able to do. So it's something that I see a lot. And earlier I've noticed the attitude on set towards actors of color is different, and actors that are of mixed race, because you have like this split identity perceived. You tend to get treated like you don't really get treated like a professional, and you get sexualized a lot on set, and you're just regardless of being commercially attractive or anything like that. It's just about, I don't know where you're from, and that's hard, and we can manipulate that. And I can feel that difference compared to my actors I've worked with who are white, especially who are like very blonde and white. A few people can obviously tell that I'm mixed because Australia is predominant. It's in terms of film, most people are white. So a lot of people are, most common question I get is, where are you from? Mm-hmm. But it's the treatment is different. I don't know how to explain it in terms of my experience, but in terms of watching how my friends are treated and how my loved ones are treated in the industry, it's brutal. It's so the things that you go for are not multi-dimensional roles. They're very like, this is a box that we're going to tick, and we can fit you in that box. And I think one conversation we were having recently with one of our friends who is Indian and has only gone for small roles and is an excellent actor, was you just don't go for those anymore. You just have to be so cutthroat, whether or not you've got any certainty about where you're going to go in this industry. You cannot that can't be the bare minimum for you. These 50-word roles that are doctors or that are shop owners that turn up for 2 seconds. That can't be the minimum anymore. It has to be, okay, well, I won't go for those roles anymore. It's rough though, because you don't know what you're going to go for, because people tend to think that leading men have to be blonde-haired, blue-eyed hunks, and that leading women have to be, to be like leading and not sexualized, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. And in that way, everyone gets sexualized in film. It's film. That's what sells. Mm-hmm. But the way that people of color do, there's no dimension. I don't know how. It's just like matte almost in terms of representation.
I feel like this actor Kumail Nanjiani has made really huge waves for, well, Desi people, like brown people, like South Asian people in the movie industry, like making his own movie as well, The Big Short, was so cool. Have you watched The Big Short?
Of course, yeah.
That was
It's insane.
it was so cool. But
Have you Spotlight?
Spotlight? No, I haven't
I
seen
think
it.
he was involved in that.
He was in that too.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna be in a Marvel movie soon. He's been cast as one of the Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, and he got really ripped. He was one of my partner's favorite actors. What was it called? What's it called? The Eternals.
Eternals, right, yeah.
I think it's the Eternals. It's something like that. He's excellent.
Sorry, not The Big Short. I was wrong about The Big Short. It's The Big Sick.
Yeah, with his partner.
Yeah, with his partner.
How they met each other.
Eternals, the Eternals. He's gonna be in the Eternals. You're right.
That's also one of my partner's favorite films.
The Big Sick?
Yeah.
Oh god.
So because it's a true story, you know that?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. That's how he met his partner in real life.
Wow.
So, yeah. So the other actress is he's just playing himself in it, and the other actress is playing his partner.
Again, the effortless acting was so well displayed in that. It was amazing.
He's wonderful, but he had the frustrating, also really good, but like he has to fight so much harder than the average actor, like that isn't a person of color, to get to that point. Like he really has to hustle, and it's just there's those extra levels of proving yourself to not be a stereotype when it comes to acting that I've really noticed in Australia, and with other projects coming here as well. Is you really do have to prove yourself a whole lot more in order to get what you want. You might be 10 times more talented than someone who's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, but it's just for some reason there's a doubt in the capability of actors of color who are obviously of color, you know, not necessarily white passing ones like myself. I still have to prove myself, but not to the level that I've seen my South Asian friends have to.
Right. I mean, that's going to be everywhere, not only Australia, but like the US. And
yeah.
It's going to be, even in Europe and the UK, like it's just not happening with South Asians right now. But it's getting better, I feel. It's going to get better. But your South Asian friends, were they born and raised in Australia?
No, so some of them moved here in their childhood, like when they were 13.
Okay.
But some of them were born and raised in Australia as well. And I'm not, you know, it's the same with black friends of mine. Anyone who's who's definitely a person of color to the naked eye has to do this like extra stepping process.
In particular, your Indian friends or like South Asian friends, since they've been born and raised in Australia, do they ever talk about how it's even difficult for them to go back to their homeland and like suppose Bollywood and do roles in there because they've forgotten the language or they're not there? Yeah. Right. So it's a
catch-22. Like either way, you kind of get fucked over by the system.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them do actually speak their native tongue, be it Hindi or wherever they're from. But a lot of them do. But some of them just might not be able to dance, maybe. But a lot of them just want to go. Well, I don't want to have to go somewhere else. I shouldn't have to go somewhere else. You know, like I should be able to do it where I grew up.
Yeah.
But you can't win. Like you don't belong either way because you get rejected.
It's super tough. Yeah.
It's so weird because the there is just so much untapped talent because of this. And then when it gets discovered, people go, but where have you been this whole time? And they're like, I fucking been here this whole time. You just wouldn't see me. You know?
Yeah. So.
And then you get afraid of playing antagonists because they tend to just be like one-dimensional, stereotypical. And protagonists, there aren't any for that demographic. It's, yeah.
And their face and their role as an antagonist forever get pegged as that.
Well, I mean, I think they're afraid that someone's going to make them a terrorist or something because people can't seem to give you interesting antagonistic roles if you look a certain way. Like the cool antagonists seem to really go to one demographic. I've been so lucky that because I had Georgia, which was my role earlier on. After that, and I wouldn't say that I haven't worked hard. I've obviously worked really, really hard. But I just went, I'm not going for some hot accessory. I just won't. And sometimes I've gotten those briefs and I'm just going, well, that won't happen. I'm just not going to go for her, you know?
Yeah.
And I just don't. And I'm only going for multi-dimensional fucked up roles because at the moment my look is allowing me that. I can't be, you know, like the leading girl in a romantic comedy because right now I'm just hard out antagonist. That's where everyone's mind is at. But at least, you know, that's what you want. I don't want to be playing a disposable sex object, you know?
Yeah.
Just seeing that opportunity come and especially, and it's not an opportunity, it's just going to put you in that box for the rest of your life if you go that way. At least if you play a psychopath or a sociopath or someone who has major issues, then you can go somewhere from there because people actually they lean in and they pay attention. They're actually paying attention to you and your acting, not what you look like, and you know your background or the fact that you don't look white, you know.
Yeah. So
it's
coming off of this point of the role that you're looking to get into more. The clips that you sent me, that role where you were Mira, I believe.
Myra, yeah.
Myra. What role was that? For what movie?
Blacklight.
The Blacklight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the creator of Ozark, I don't know if you know Ozark.
Yeah, I know. I watched Ozark. Yeah.
Yeah, he offered me Sofia Flores in Blacklight, so we'll be shooting that on the 22nd of December in Melbourne. So that one's with Liam Neeson. It's just a real. It's a really good role. I don't know how to explain it. You cannot, you know that you're going to get taken seriously. You know that there's so much story and so many facets to it, and it's not. She's here to stay. You know.
Yeah.
It's not like she's not. It's what the amazing thing is. She's not a damsel. Liam doesn't come and save her, you know. She kind of checks him, and that's great. I love that. His character's name will be Block. Sorry, so Block won't be coming to save her. It's the other way around, which I love. And Mark Williams, the female roles that he's written, especially you can see in Ozark as well. They're not disposable roles. They're very complex, multifaceted. People. They're not just strong women. They're just people, you know. There's like this funny thing where if you have a multidimensional female role, then all of a sudden she's a strong woman. But we don't really say that about you know, other roles. It's just a really, really weird thing to put out in there. And I'm so happy that that I was able to get that and be mixed. Because a lot of the time you can't, and it's just if you are, then you're getting saved, or you'll be there for about 2 seconds. So it was really, really awesome to be able to land that one. And I've been so lucky that because of how we're only going for blockbusters, and we're only giving ourselves the chance to go for large scale projects now. So that we cannot settle. I've been really lucky, and now I'm getting briefs that actually have all of these facets, and sometimes they allude to Asian culture, and that's something that I'm really, really just hoping that one day, if the world can accept it, I'll be able to go back to that in a role. And without it being a thing, without it being weird, she just happens to be Eurasian, and that's like her dad just happens to be Asian, and her mum just happens not to be, you know what I mean? And it's not a thing where we go, oh, this is a storyline. No, they just happen to look that way, and we don't have to think about it any further than that.
Absolutely. I so get that.
Yeah. So I really, really love the fact that that's coming across my agent's desk a lot more. And there've been roles that have been white roles, and I just know I'm not going to book them. I had at one point a casting director was really trying to get me into a Swedish role, and we were like, I don't think it's going to happen. And we tried. We really tried, and just couldn't happen. I just could not look Swedish, and we really tried. I actually like white-faced myself a bit, and like really just come across Caucasian as I possibly could, and go like it. But no, and I went for one that was in Appalachia, which is in the States, where it's like that hillbilly stereotype. It's the best script I've ever read. You have to look out for Dopesick. It's going to be amazing. It's the most incredible. Dopesick. It's based on the book Dopesick. Do you know the book?
I don't know the book, but I'll check it out for sure.
The Sackler family's role in the opiate crisis outbreak in the late 90s, and the actual first case of the first OxyContin prescription. It's an amazing script. Beautiful script, best read of my life. It was one of those projects where you go, I know I'm not going to get this, but I just have to do my best because I have so much respect for this project that I have to do my best. And it's honestly going to be amazing. You have to watch it when it comes out. I know that they're still they've lost the director now. They're going for a new one. They haven't cast it, but in I think a year or so, you'll be reading about Dopesick, and you'll want to watch it. It's going to be really, really good.
Awesome.
But no, in a lot of ways, it's still a lot of people want to put you in a box, but I've just learned, and I really want to get this through a lot of people's heads, that not settling gets you as far as you possibly want to go. The moment that you start saying, I'm not going for CW network shows, or I'm not going for small roles, and I'm not going for soap operas, I'm not looking at those auditions, whether it might mean I'm never going to work, but I just cannot settle for something that isn't going to do justice to the craft and isn't going to do justice to storytelling. Because what's the point of doing what we do as actors who want to tell stories if we're not telling real stories, if we're not telling actual tangible, content stories?
And well-directed stories too. Like, they have to be very well-directed too. I'm sure that a lot of time goes into them making sure everything is placed in the right way, and everything is all the actions are done in the right way, and a lot of effort. Because I think the same way. Like, as being an artist, I've written over hundreds of songs, but I've only released 3, just because I had a milestone when I was a teenager. I was like, all right, I have to release a song before I'm not a teenager anymore. It's something that I just have to do. And
I used to have.
Yeah, it didn't completely resonate with me when I released it, just because it wasn't produced that well, because I did it by myself, and I didn't have a professional sound engineer or anything like that to make it sound really good. The levels were all off. Like, my voice was loud in some parts, and the background music was loud in other parts. Yeah, I mastered it myself, but it wasn't. Yeah, but it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, and since that release, I've been taking a lot of time making each song sound good, like learning how to do it myself and making it sound really good before I release it. Because I achieved that milestone, and after that, I think just like you think that I'm not gonna settle for putting my craft out in that way. Yeah.
It's tough with music because I did the same, and I did not touch, because I top lined for other artists' songs from the age of 17, because when I was 17, when I was in Bangkok, I met a massive producer who was also a DJ at Bisec by Ma, and then I went off to LA with him and Ibiza, and I had like an amazing 2 years doing that. And then I came to Sydney, like when I just stopped, and I was like, I'm not going to top line for other people anymore. I need to do my own thing. But I had that mentality when I was really young that I needed to do music as a teenager and get it out there. And now now that I've like waited, and I'm 22, and the moment that the acting stuff started taking off, I found myself one of Australia's, top managers. I've got David Champion now, and he's amazing. And I've got Manny, who's also my co-manager. And they got me the distribution deal with ADA and Warner Brothers, which is like something I never would have imagined. Because when I was a teenager, I was like record labels and have to get a record label. And now I think my worst nightmare would be if I signed a contract with a record label, because of the breakage fees and the way those contracts work. It's just, I'm a completely different person because of the fact that I've waited, and now we're not settling. We've got Khalid producing on the tracks, and we've got we've got Justin, we've got Simon Collin, who is an amazing engineer and masterer, and he obviously does Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber's work. And we've got the team that I never could have imagined getting when I was a kid. Because and now, when I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to be a performer, I'm going to be a singer, now it's like, we're actually fighting to not have my face on any of my music and have a completely different name to be acting, and just not let those cards collide at any point until people eventually make that connection. But we're really going the whole no face, no capitalizing on that, not giving anyone a chance to sexualize, which a lot of female artists have to cop in order to do well, and just really trying to go Michael Kiwanuka, Childish Gambino, until like, just don't know until you know, until you make that connection. And then if that affects it, one of the biggest things I've learned is that actors becoming musicians doesn't work, and musicians becoming actors doesn't work. And I've always done music since I was a kid, and I have thousands of songs ready to go, but it doesn't work if I'm, also Mel Jarnson on screen doing that. It doesn't have ability, even if you've done it before you were acting. I was having a conversation with my American managers, and we were saying the music is coming into fruition. We got a $300,000 deal with ADA. We got, David Champion. These are the people we have working with us now. This is the team we have. This is ready to go. And they were like, oh, that's not good. Like, you can't do that because you're an actor, and we want you to focus on acting. Because it doesn't occur to them that the entire time I've been doing music like it's the back of my hand. And I've got the studio. We have a whole room that's just a studio in this house, and it's always been my job. But people, like we were saying with boxes, like, but that you doing multiple things that doesn't work for my brain. For some reason, people go like, I can't fit that into my idea of you.
Right.
And then I'm always like, well, because I've always loved it, and it is probably the most important thing to me, the most justice I can do to my music is not putting my face on it or my name, and making sure that we're creating art and we're creating good music that isn't there to make bank, has the right team to make bank. But we want to make sure that I'm allowed to have 6-minute songs. I'm allowed to have a 3-minute intro. I'm allowed to have a 2-minute song. I'm allowed to just not conform. And having a distribution deal instead of, a label deal was the only thing that permitted me to do that. It was what Daniel Caesar did, and obviously worked really well for him, and he was really smart. I had no perception of any of this when I was 17, leaving Bangkok, going to top line artists' music. It was just something where I thought it's all about getting the first song right when it comes out, and I can do that all on my own. And I've come across all of these people that I've never thought I could even meet, let alone talk to and collaborate with and have want to work with me, who honestly are the only people that could ever get that song to where it deserves to go. Like I couldn't do that if I hadn't waited, and if I hadn't gotten myself a team that actually backed me and really, really wanted this to work. Because I hate showing my work to people. I hate showing my music to people. The only reason why I got the team around me that I did was because one of the people that I collaborated with on a song showed it to them, and then they all started showing it to each other, and then they started coordinating everything for me, and then going, we really want to work with you. You just have to turn up. That's all you have to do. And then as an artist, that's if you write your own songs and you can, especially if you can produce, that's the best thing, to just have to turn up and do what you're good at doing, what's like water to you, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's rough if you don't, I don't know how to explain it. If I hadn't done that, I don't know if I ever would have released anything, because I would have just been so hard set on getting it right the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And going, it has to be perfect. My first impression has to be great. But it actually is.
Amazing. It's amazing, dude. I'm so happy for all that you've been able to do, especially like being someone who was an artist and a songwriter initially, and now getting to the point where your teams managed to connect you with all these people and do it the right way and do it the best way.
Yeah. I mean, none of this crossed my mind. I didn't understand some of these people were so crucial to the process. I honestly didn't do anything. That's the thing. Like, I think the most important thing is becoming proud of your own work and showing it to other people, because I've still not actually achieved that. When we got Simon Collin for engineering, I didn't want him to listen to my music. We were at 301, it's one of like Sydney's top studios, which I didn't even know. You know what I mean? Like I think if I knew all of this stuff, I would fuck up. But I didn't know who he was even until I saw like the discs on the wall. And then my manager, one of my managers, Manny, who's been fighting for me like tooth and nail, no matter what, he's the biggest hype man. I can't understand why, aside from my music, he's the one who goes, Simon, come here, like we have to go into the studio and talk. And they obviously have discussed things with each other before. And he goes, and then he just puts it on, and I had to leave the room because I can't watch other people listening to my work, which is probably the biggest disability I've given myself in an industry where you need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it was a recording that I've always hated, that I'd sent Manny so he had a reference of the song structure, and it's ended up being like the most successful. I've actually learned that it's a really good recording, but for me that was, at the time, for some reason, because I was so insecure, really, really bad, and that's gotten me so many people that I never thought I could have gotten. And Khalid, produced Anti by Rihanna, and that was the same recording that I hated the last like 4 years I've had it. It was just me singing my song to some friend of mine playing the guitar. And I had it on my phone, and I don't know why that was the one I sent to Manny, but that has gotten like us so many places. And that's why I say I have not done a thing. All I've done is turn up, do what I do, and then other people have shown it and gotten us to where we need to be. But that's just to show that it is so important to have to make these connections and help people, because one day they're really gonna want to help you. Not necessarily because you're an amazing person, but because what you have has value to them. But they won't know unless they unless they know you and you've had a rapport.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that when I was in Bangkok because I was a kid, I guess, and I thought that I could do everything on my own and that things would just fall on my lap.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
to an extent, I still feel like that would be amazing if, like, I still, in the back of my mind, expect things to just fall on my lap. But I know that's not how it works. You know, you have to really get talking and communicate and spend time with people.
I think when it comes to music, people who are really talented can hear the concept you've got. And
Yeah.
if you don't really, if it's not ready for release, but you've got the concept and it sounds amazing, it's just not ready for release yet, that concept we tend to think needs to be perfect before we show it to other people, but it doesn't, because those other people sometimes are much more capable than we are of getting it to what's in our mind that we can't somehow get onto those keys or into the DAW or into the studio. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
it's honestly just the idea, when it comes to music at least, that can take you so far, but if you keep that idea hidden, you're not gonna be able to. I think it's you just won't be able to go to where you want to be. And I didn't understand this until now. The artists need each other, and not just producers needing a good songwriter and a good singer, but other singers need singers, other writers need writers, other artists yearn for artist connection, and if we don't make those connections with the people that we look up to the most, or the people, in that caliber, then we're cutting ourselves short of so much talent. And for some people, we didn't even have a mutual friend. Manny just sent them a song and was like, this girl did this, and then they came back and went, let me work with her, let us do this song, here's 10. Like, they would just make up beats within that night and go, please write over these, sing over these, and then maybe they'll make the cut for your distribution deal. And it was like,
wow,
you're in this place, how the fuck is this real? It would not. I nearly didn't have this because I was too proud of showing my own music to other people, and this is where I've always dreamt of being, and it's still not really hit me because of the fact that I didn't really do much of it. Everyone else did. Everyone else did the work. And how far would I be now if I actually did it myself, and if I actually got it out by myself and was proud enough of it to have reached out to them myself and everyone else myself, Yeah. Crazy.
When exactly did you start writing your songs, and how did you start writing?
I started writing music from the same age that I started wanting to act, when I was 4. Some of my first songs are from when I was really, really small, because my parents only for a long time showed me Charles Dickens and Shakespeare. And really weirdly enough, I was really well spoken when I was a kid. I'm not now, for some reason. But I have, it's really weird. But I've got a couple of melodies that actually come from my dad's recording of me when I was 6. So, and that's actually one of our priorities for the distribution deal. So we're doing a 5-song deal, and one of them will be a single. And that's actually the one that everyone else has decided will be a single. And I'm actually still battling with that because in my mind, it's my most primitive song. But I guess sometimes those are actually the best. So yeah, I started writing when I was small. My father is an incredible singer. He doesn't do it professionally at all, but he is insane. And he's always made up beats and melodies randomly on his own. So I think that is where it came from. He's a huge Elvis fan, so I always had a weird crush on Elvis from childhood. And I would just, when I was listening to music growing up, if it was whether it was Elvis or Paula Abdul or anyone, right, I would always be making up music videos when I was listening to it. I could never just listen to a song. Always had to be deep in thought about a film attached to it or some storyline attached to it. And then I think the good music came from when it became my job when I was top lining, because that's when you learn to alter songs to sell. And so I went from very, very like, my friend uses this term for music, left and right leaning music, but it's got nothing to do with politics. But do you know what that means? When left is like really, really indie, alty, not main. So I've always loved film scores, and my dream is to eventually for that to be my job and to be able to score films and write music for films. And so I think I always had like film scorey leaning music, so very, 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 very lefty in terms of alt. But then when I did top lining, and my job for like 2 years was to make it the mainstream, I think I found this really beautiful balance between the two, and I'm now committed to not making mainstream music, so not conforming to a structure. So we're going to have free songs, like as in they'll be free in structure, and then if they do really well, then you'll have a radio edit, like Michael Kiwanuka had with Cold Little Heart. That sort of structure. So we just want to be really free with it. But I'm very, very gullible, and I'm really not an individual when it comes to business decisions. That's everyone else who has done that for me. So if someone came to me and went, your song's way too film scory, or it's way too long, I would just agree with them and go, okay, well then I'll make it short and I'll make it a mainstream song for you. Okay. But now I've got a team on me full of artists who also are not, they didn't start as mainstream artists. They started as very, very lefty artists. Yeah. Who mainstream. Now I've got a team that won't allow that to happen. So we've had people come into meetings and go, well, okay, we can make her a big star, and then we'll make this the staple, and we'll use this as the method. Whether or not that would work, they have a template for artists, and I've had a team, not me, but the team go, no, walk out of this room. That's not what we're looking for. And to have people who have that sort of, like, to be adamant like that towards other people about someone else's art, it's the team. Yeah. I mean, if you can become, if you are, or if you're planning to become that cutthroat about your art, and you're decisive about where it needs to go, then you'll be sweet. And some artists, they develop this reputation for being assholes, but they're just, it's kind of, a lot of other people are assholes in this industry, and they want to tell you what you're supposed to be and who you're going to be and what you're going to look like and how you're going to dress. And they actually do try to make those decisions for you. If you're, I'm not, I wish I was, but if you have a team around you or yourself who are adamant and who believe in the art and who believe in the music more than the product, and then you're unstoppable. I've just come to learn that some songs I really didn't think were any good are of great value to a lot of people, or have made people feel things that I didn't feel when I even wrote it. And it goes, oh wow, that actually has. You don't realize until a lot of people listen to your music, it actually makes a fucking difference. And it's whoa, that's insane.
And it's difficult because some of the stuff that you write could make you feel really exposed, right? Really, really in that moment. Like I remember, I mean, till this day, when I express my favorite songs that I've written, I still and my heart's beating like at 100 minutes. Yeah, it's like, it's crazy, like crazy fast. My heart's beating really fast, and I'm shaking. And because I'm really exposed in that moment. You're talking about how you feel, and it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. And sometimes in a weird way that helps people when they listen to it. Yeah. I've got one song. Every time we have to do a recording of it, I honestly feel unwell after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I need I need a break. Like I need to go outside, and I keep saying to my manager, one of my managers, I keep going, is this a good idea? This song is so dark. Is it going to be any good? What good will it bring having other people listen to it? You know what I mean? Like this could actually ruin someone's week or day. It's not making me feel good, therefore it must make other people feel shit because it's a really, really dark song. And he was like, I feel like relieved when I hear this song, and I need other people to hear this song. They need to hear it. They need to feel that connection that somebody's talking about something that many people don't actually talk about. And I'm just like, but it's like, I don't feel good recording. I nearly feel like I should sell it to someone who's capable of recording it and making it sound good, can bear that burden and potential stigma. So I think our biggest hurdle at the moment is me dealing with potential stigma that some songs bring. Some of them are about heartbreak, and that's fine. Everyone loves to listen about heartbreak. It's really relatable, and it's not something that hasn't been done. And then there's songs that I think the most difficult songs for me to write are happy songs. But I was like, we have to have one on there that's happy, at least, or definitely a happy song, because otherwise I'm just going to be, what's her name? I actually want to say her name. She's an incredible actor, but for a while she was labeled like, sad looking. So I don't want to be stereotyped with music.
Absolutely, because you're juggling two different paths in your career right now, and you need to make sure it's not disrupting either.
No, yeah, and the one thing that's going to work is definitely my music artist name has and will always not be my name. Will never be my name, and it will always be completely different to my acting name. And on top of that, we really don't want to put my face in any of it. So none of me in music videos, having like short films as music videos, having like anything that can make sure those mediums don't clash, because I don't like the notion that music can't do well unless you can capitalize off of the artist's personality. I don't like the notion that we need to have a celebrity culture around that in order for it to do well. And if that's how it does well, then I don't want to be a part of that, So I'll do whatever I can in my power to not have that attached to that. Because eventually when the films come out, they're really like large caliber films. It would be harmful to the music to have those names combined, because if the films don't do well, then that's attached to my music immediately. If they do incredibly well, then that puts me in a box and I can't do music. As in, I can't do music that I want to do. So it's like, again, that's what the team's doing, and they've agreed and understood that that's the trajectory we have to go. And we might not make as much money if that's the way we go, but if that's the way to keep the music integrity in the music that we do, then that's what we have to do. Like, we can't do it any other way if it compromises integrity.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You have so much to think about, and yet things are going really well. So it's like hard to stay on the ground and make the correct decisions or make the right decisions for your careers, both your careers.
Yeah, I won't be a Bojack Horseman.
No, absolutely not. We learned so much from him. I'm sure. We pay homage back.
That's the playbook for artists in general. No, but I want to listen to your music.
I will send some stuff over. I will definitely send some stuff over.
I love like Music Penthouse.
Yeah.
I will send stuff over to you as well. Obviously, don't put it in this ever.
Definitely not.
But no, I would love to do that. That would be so fun. If you're the type of person who can listen to your music and not cringe, then you're already, you know what I mean? When we were doing it to Simon, when he left the room, I had blood right down to my wrists, because I was literally ripping my fingers to shreds the whole song.
Jesus, damn.
The most excruciating experience was watching someone else listen to my music. It's really rough for me. and that's just the way I am. And I think that's I might not always be that way, but that's the way I'm going to be for a long time. So and so that's going to hold me back for a long time. I'm always going to kind of at this stage need someone, unless I change something urgently, to push it for me, because I won't have the guts or the stones to do it myself.
But it's
and I'm
okay.
proud of myself,
Yeah, and it's okay to need someone or need people, because even though I feel I hate complimenting myself, but I really feel like I'm a good writer.
yeah,
I've tried to produce and mix and master and do all that other jazz, but I'm just not good at it. Like, I just make really, really shitty songs out of it. So like, if I had someone on my team to be a sound engineer or a producer to do mixing and mastering, I feel like I would be able to progress much better. But
yeah.
I'm still trying to make connections and find those people to like make a team with, and I'm not just waiting on it. I'm still learning how to do it myself, just because I don't like to like wait around either. I like to get things going. So, but I so get that needing people and it is not a weakness. It's actually a strength in understanding what you are good at and what other people are good at. People are good at different things, and if you find people who are the best at something and then you being the best at something else, it's an excellent partnership. It's something that should be encouraged and not make you feel like you're incapable, you know?
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because I think that's the most important way to do well in this industry is having the best way to have as much autonomy as you possibly can, which is one thing that eventually you're going to lose every now and then, especially in the music industry. In the acting industry, it's just a given, there's no autonomy. But with the music industry, what you really, really do want to hang on to is that autonomy. The funniest thing is the best way to do that is to have other people on your team, because if you have someone who's on your side and someone who believes in you, they're going to make sure that when your back is turned, someone isn't about to take something from you and compromise your work. They're going to be there to go, no, this is what I believe in, this is what I back. And that is actually the best way to have autonomy. And I think that's why I love it so much. It's definitely having acted now since 2019, since the beginning of last year. I'm so new to it.
I hope I can just talk to you a little bit more about music, about just two more things about music, if that's okay with you.
Please do, go ahead.
Yeah, so what kind of songs do you write? Are they classical or R&B or hip hop or what kind of direction?
I would say that they're a combination. I don't know what the genre is yet. I think they're definitely going to slap one onto it with the distribution deal, but I won't have a say in that.
Okay.
I think that they're a combination of neo soul and I think folk properties, and I don't really think I do classical, but I don't know what it's called. It's like scoring, I guess.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
I think, it's like when you have rock instrumentals and then you have a little bit of orchestra. Like there's classical element. I love classical music. I just know that my music does not do justice to classical genre, and it's not that. But it has those. I don't know. Have you heard Cold Little Heart?
Cold Little Heart.
Yeah.
I have not. Who's it by?
Michael Kiwanukuwa. So have you seen Big Little Lies? It's their intro song. It's part of the intro song of his music. And Daniel Caesar, obviously, I adore. And her name's Her.
Oh, I know her. Yeah, I know her. Yeah.
So it's a combination of those three genres. I would say between those three people, we've got that. Obviously, Khalid is very, very instrumental, like very, very synthesizes and very amazing. But he does a lot of R&B and rock as well, and sometimes R&B and rock combined. But we just don't know. So some songs we think are R&B songs, but they're actually rock songs. If you listen to the structure of them.
Yeah.
So a few of the songs on Anti that he did were like the ones that we're doing now. But honestly, you'll be able to tell when you listen to them, because I think everyone has their own interpretation of what genre songs are, you know?
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
worst person to ask is usually the artist, because they always they have an idea of what the song sounds like, but it might not actually be what the song actually does sound like, you know? I've got someone I know who's definitely country, but they're definitely R&B in their mind, and they're country as fuck. They're really, really successful, but to this day they're like, no, I'm definitely R&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen artists release their music in different genres as well. Like the latest song that I have been just so obsessed with, and it was such an unlikely artist to be obsessed with for someone like me, and for I guess, yeah, for someone like me who's so into hip hop and rap, is Justin Bieber's latest song called Lonely.
I've not actually heard it. Is it good?
You haven't heard it?
No.
Oh,
I haven't.
Dude, I feel like you should watch it right now. If
Really?
you can, just watch it. Watch the music video, hear the song with it. Like it's
I'll write it down.
Amazing.
By Justin Bieber. Do you know who wrote it? Was it you there?
Justin Bieber wrote it, and Benny Blanco was the producer.
He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
And it's so simple. It's just the piano and Justin Bieber's voice. That's it.
Oh, I love that.
That's it.
But probably the most talented pianist I've ever come across is Khalid, which is weird. Nobody thinks of it. He can write you a new melody in 2 minutes when you've sent him a sample, and that melody, those keys, you can literally write anything on top of them, anything you want it. A happy song, a sad song, a rap song, a rock song, a folk song, a country song. It's fucking ridiculous. I think some of the best songs, if you can make it work with just a piano, if they don't need anything else, if the keys are really good.
Yeah. It has inspired me so much to just make something really plain and simple that just sounds good. But obviously you have to have an amazing voice like Justin Bieber too.
No pressure.
But
I mean,
I'm not the greatest singer, to be honest. I never learned singing. I never practiced singing. I just more of like a shower singer. but I'm practicing now how to sing properly and melodically, because most of my stuff has just been poetry. So I'm more of a talker, more of someone who speaks their stuff. Sorry?
You have 21 Pilots?
Yeah.
He kind of just
talks.
And it works. I think that they're gorgeous, actually. But for the longest time, I wanted to do that, was just talk over beats and then sing now and then. And just, I can't remember why. I think I was afraid I would sound like I was rapping, which I would be terrible at. But it was, I actually find it so satisfying when people do that, when they just speak. Like, with We Find Love with Daniel Caesar, when he just has that whole section where he just kind of talks and she talks.
Yeah.
I think it's heartbreaking parts. You should definitely incorporate that. I mean, and you probably have already. I don't think you should stray from, you should avoid the talking if it works for the song.
Definitely.
Come on, it works.
Definitely.
So do you want to sell them or do you want to perform them?
I mean, I definitely want to present them as my song and release them as me doing it. But yeah, for sure. And I don't have another career to think about rather than going in the artist direction. I mean, like, other than professional career, the artist career is not gonna affect my professional career like it would yours, and two artistic careers. So Yeah.
Because you're doing this at the moment, and then you're also doing music,
Mm.
and you're working on finance.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I can never do that. I can barely sing at the same time.
I mean, it's a lot, but I gotta say that I'm not feeling the most satisfied with all of this. In fact, I'm feeling more stuck than anything.
I don't ever want to tell you to not do that and lose your security. I know that because my dad's Thai and Asian, and that's just the last thing he ever wanted was for me to get involved in music and acting. Those were the two things that was like, you cannot do that. And growing up, I kept pushing buttons and trying to see how he would react. And it was never, I never got the response I wanted. I never got taken seriously in that regard. But and honestly, with my first acting job, he still didn't actually believe that I was acting and working as an actor. He thought that it was like a joke, like some sort of school project. It took him like 6 months to realize that was actually being broadcast across the country.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard him actually believe me was when I mentioned Liam Neeson. That was the first time. And this whole time I've been thinking, I just really, of course I want to make my father and my mother proud. That's how you're raised, especially in Southeast Asia and South Asia, is your parents are number one. Your parents, your thumb comes up here. Like, it's not even, it's like really important. Like, why? Almost like the deities. And that's been my greatest fear, is that I dropped everything. I lost everything. For what, if I had nothing to prove for it? And then if you're actually good at what you do, people crave talent and people crave good writing, and that's not actually as common as you might think. And the moment that someone can get a small hint of what you've written, that person and will show it to several other people, and those several other people will get it to some people that you really look up to, who will get it to where it needs to go. And then you know what I mean? So if you actually are good at what you do, and if you know that you're a good writer, you don't actually have anything to lose. It just takes longer takes more time of uncertainty, like that, and that time of uncertainty, not knowing when it's going to happen. But you do know that it is going to happen. The shitty thing about this industry is you don't get a deadline. Nobody goes, okay, this is when you're going to be releasing your first single, and this is when you're going to have your first EP. This is the first time you're going to be working with, like Khalid or whoever. Like, no one tells you that. You don't get any prediction on that. You just have to fucking commit to what you do and know that you're really talented and skilled, and that you have something to give to people. And I think with acting, the only way I gave myself any hope that I could ever make my father proud was to go, I have something to say, and I have something to show for it, and it just takes the right kind of writing to come along for that to really shine. And in the meantime, only go for what has good writing. Like, don't give yourself mediocre shots anymore. And if your music is high caliber, don't settle for mediocre homes for it. Like we always say, music will find its own home, and it always does. But if you don't let it get to the point that it needs to be to find the perfect home, which is up here, at the top of the mountain, and you just settle for, down here, you're cutting yourself short, but you're also holding people back from listening to something that could change their lives or make them feel better and change and inspire them to do the same thing. But took my time forever to understand where I was at with music and acting. And it was like, when I showed him my music, one of my songs that we had produced that was about to get sent to getting mastered, and I was like, hey, it's called Papa. So it was like, I need to get your permission before we do this, because I want you to understand it's nothing against you and it's just a song, but I want to know that you approve of it, because it's quite an intense song. And then I showed it to him, and it's quite a confrontational song. It's not happy or anything. And he was this was the first time I ever heard him as proud as he was. He was like, despite the lyrics and everything, he was like, this is really fucking good. And I'm really proud of you. And okay, I understand for the last decade or so that you were actually an artist and that you can do this. And it was the first time I heard him lose fear in me following that career path. Because every time he's been like, yeah, that's good, but go back to uni. Yeah, that's good. Please get a job. Like, please go do a normal job and just do this as a hobby.
Yeah.
And now he's like, okay, you can actually make money like this. Good. I don't have to worry. If you give your work the chance to get to where it deserves to be and where you deserve it to be, where you're worthy of having it, your parents, the amount of pride that they will have when they see how many lives it affects and how secure you are, and how secure can you be in it unless you obviously invest the time and energy that it deserves. So it's tough. It's a catch-22 because for a while you're not going to be secure.
Exactly.
Like you're not. You need time, but that's when this is how the distribution deal works, which is amazing, is distribution deals acknowledge that you need time. So they give you an advance. They don't have finished songs. They don't have finished, some songs on the distribution in the pitch package are not produced. They're literally just phone recordings. But the Warner Brothers have gone, well, we want that. That's going to be the song. So here's 50 grand, 60 grand to get through the next few months so that you can afford to invest time in it. Yeah, so I would just give you unsolicited advice and say go for a distribution deal where you have your pitch package, and then you know that you're going to be given security for the time that you need to produce the rest of the songs, produce all the songs and do justice to them.
Right.
And you get 60, 50, 60, 80 grand for like 6 months to actually do music. And then that's like, in the scheme of things, maybe not a lot of money, but for 22-year-olds, it's not that bad.
Not at all.
With it. You can also be really, really dumb and use all of it, which is what some artists do, and then that's how they fuck themselves. They take the whole 300 grand, buy a fucking car, or and then that's when you get gypped. But if you're smart and diligent and you take 50, 60 grand as an advance, then you're good to go. I would recommend that over a record deal where you have to have all this music ready, otherwise you lose 70% to non-existent breakage.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's awesome.
Okay.
What kind of music do you listen to, though?
I listen to a lot of scores. So I listen to scoring by Giosu, who's won a couple of Oscars. And I listened to Dan Roma, who did Maniac, but I don't think you've seen Maniac.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
But I listened to Michael Kiwanukuwa. He's amazing. He is
Wait, who did you say?
Michael Kiwanukuwa.
Okay, yeah. You mentioned him, yeah.
And do you know Akira Kosamura?
Nope.
Akira Kosamura, Michael Kiwanukuwa, Daniel Caesar, Brent Fayers, and I've been listening to Tiana Taylor a lot.
Okay.
And this guy is amazing. My phone's still dead. Do you know the song Clover?
Nope.
Oh my god, he's so good. Clover by come on, help me out, Google. Yeah, I've got to get my phone because he won't come up on this.
All right.
Clover. Come out.
How do you spell that?
You know, Kaamau. Come out.
Oh. Okay.
So good.
All right.
and Khalid, because that's my homework.
I can't believe you're working with Khalid. That is
I can't either.
right. That is insane. Like, did you meet him? Did you meet him in person?
No, so Manny, my manager, they're best mates.
Wow.
There's no to everyone, of course. He's amazing. And Manny was playing my songs and being really sneaky, and then Khalid came to us and was like, I want to work with you.
Wow.
He just sent me, we were doing, I was doing a session for one of my songs that I've written, and then while I was doing that session, because he couldn't come that day, oh God, this was ages ago. I think it was 5 beats in, he sent us 5 beats in something like 20 minutes that he'd made on the fly for that song, just like whichever would work for it. And we were like, what the fuck? He's so fast. He's so fast, dude. Like I've never worked with anyone who is that fast. And he sent me some keys for one of my songs, and he was just like, it was so good. It was for a happy song, and over those keys I've now written like 6 songs that now we're producing 15, 20 songs, and from those 15, 20 we're going to pick the 5 selects for the distribution deal, which is just getting more and more difficult because better music has been coming. I thought that I'd reached my peak with songwriting and everything, and I didn't realize that when you're exposed to people of that talent and that level of talent, you create even better music and you write even better somehow because you're given the right tools to think freely. And you're encouraged to, and I think like an instrument, like you are an instrument in that way, and if you practice it, then somehow your songwriting just gets even better. And it was like, fuck, it's even more difficult in a great way. It's the best issue to have. It's the best dilemma to have. But it's just so like, it's really hard to keep all of this quiet because it's like, as this far in my life, that's the most successful I've ever been in terms of being able to have integrity, and nothing's released even, but I still feel like it's the most successful I have been thus far in music, just because it's true to myself and true to my work, and I never would have imagined that being a thing, and it's like, it's so many things that I'm not supposed to talk about, but also that are going to be happening anyway. So it's like, in some ways, it's like, I don't know why things have to be kept secret if they're going to come out soon enough anyway. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, I guess I get that things have to be, I don't know, under wraps. But everyone on the team is so nonchalant about it. No one's like losing their shit about the people that we're working with. They're all really chill. They're like, of course, these are the people we're working with. And then that gives me a bit of hope that, okay, maybe my music is worthy of this. That everyone's like, yeah, well, of course, this is what it needs. And then like, all right, okay, I guess this is what it needs. And this is where, like, the bar is so high.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I'm so honored to be in the position I'm in, even though it's not like officially a position of any kind. Just as an artist to be able to work and create like this, it's just so much better. Like, you just have so much more. I just feel understood, if that makes sense. I feel like these musicians and these collaborators, they actually do understand. And when you haven't let anyone listen to your music, some songs for 10 years, and they get heard, as you know, at 22, where I thought it would be way too late, I'm actually so grateful that I waited this long. For a lot of people, it's like a baby, right? A lot of people are like, oh, you're 22, you're a fucking fetus. But at my stage in life, it's just like, I'm willing, now that I've heard their work and I've worked with them, I am willing to wait as long as it takes to make these songs exactly what they deserve to be, if not better. Just because now I've heard, and it's taken the urgency out of me, and I'm much more relaxed about the schedule now.
Yeah.
I would really, I mean, maybe it's because the process is fun, so I don't want it to ever end. But I'm just like, I could do this forever. Honestly, this like weird abyss of uncertainty. It's really, it's a lot nicer than it used to be for me.
Yeah. Because of the people that are surrounding you too, you know, that's definitely
yeah. And like honestly, the team. That's exactly why. It's the team. Like they encourage you to feel like you are a time bending artist. Like they make you feel like on top of the fucking world and that you're going to make a difference. And I mean, whether it's bullshit or not, it does help create, and it does make you work better, I think. And I know that it's tough choosing between security and that, but in terms of like making parents proud, I never thought that either of these avenues would ever make them proud, and now I know that they will make them the proudest out of anything I do, because now they're going to watch me be successful at what I love doing. Absolutely. Whereas before, they were afraid that I would have to be unsuccessful doing what I love doing, or successful at something I don't love doing. Like that's what they believed when I was growing up. Now I'm at a place where I can watch them actually, you know, cry with me over booking a role, or believe in me for the first time. So it sounds so sinister.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you as an artist to another artist. I'm so glad you took the path that you took, and you are where you are right now. It's you speak the truth when you say that's something that will make them the happiest, seeing you succeed at something you love doing.
Yeah.
Even though now when I have a job and I'm not the happiest I've been, just because again, like I told you, I feel trapped and I feel stuck doing something I don't want to do just for a sense of security. They're equally not happy about it. Like they're proud in a way that I found a way to be secure, but I guess what would make them happier is if I was happier. Their happiness is directly correlated with their children's happiness.
Of course, and I think they'll completely get, you know, if you're diligent, which you are, and you invest the security that you've got now into security that you'll inevitably need at some point when you turn towards music. I spent all the money I made on my first show, doing my first show, spent all that money in getting the mic I always wanted. And now I have 2 mics, and we're waiting on a U67 that I don't even have to pay for anymore. And then that, but we're getting it modified for free. And these were all things that I was like, I'm going to need 12,000 for this, 30,000 for this. It's not going to be possible, you know, like it's not. So I'm just going to be stuck daydreaming. And then when I got my pay, I went to Manny's, which is a music equipment store, and I just bought everything that was at the highest caliber, which I've now learned you don't actually need. But at the time I was like, I need to have the best sound reflector. I need to have the best microphone, the best stand. I have to have the best Korg. I have to have the best monitors. Everything has to be like absolutely perfect. That has to be perfect. I got the most comprehensive interface, because growing up speaking French, compréhensible means the easiest to understand. I didn't know comprehensive means the most complicated, incorporating absolutely everything that there is to incorporate. So I got the stuff I did not understand how to use for the life of me. And now I have other people who are using it for me anyway, but bring that into studios now. Like sometimes we actually bring the U87 and not use their mics, because sometimes their mics are not good enough for the studio session. And I think like the best investment you can make is being confident in your equipment. Getting less stuff and better quality stuff, I think, is the better way to do it. And if you can't get free stuff, a lot of people will let you use their stuff for free if you give them something like if you help them write songs or if you help them in studio sessions. Willing to give up stuff that isn't as important to you as the rest. There's some equipment that you can just get for free, but it's also about where you are. Like when you do eventually choose to do just music, when you decide to invest all your time in it, you need to be around people that do that for a living successfully. Like you can't just be on the other side of the world, or when it's no longer a pandemic, you'll have to get out and about in Bangkok and go to like the top tier studios and be around them. Everyone that I know that works in music here has had to be around high caliber artists in order to get me the resources that I need at the moment, or to have the confidence to at least contact people that we need to contact. If I were you, I'd start like planning ahead, because you've obviously got contacts and heaps of them, but planning on how to be around them physically at some stage is what you're going to have to do, because Bangkok was really, really difficult for me in terms of music, socially, in terms of being around the right people to help me grow. The only reason why I got out of there was actually because I went with a big scale artist from the States to the States.
Yeah.
And I didn't have access to that once I became an adult, you know. Like, I didn't know how to talk to up and comers, which is who you obviously already talk to through this show. But I would invest like the security you have now in security that you will 110% need when it comes to music. With like, you know, investing in a long-term studio if you don't have a home studio.
Yeah.
Or actually turning your home studio into a professional scale studio.
Yeah.
Or moving somewhere else. Do you plan on like staying in Bangkok for music, or would you go somewhere else for it?
I would definitely look to go somewhere else later on, but since Bangkok is home, I want to make my own studio here. So whatever I'm earning from my job right now, I'm investing that into buying equipment. Sorry?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily need to move anywhere. I just think you have to go places for like maybe a couple months and network with those guys.
Network and show those people what you have and get their feedback. Because sure that a lot of your friends will try to hype you up sometimes and maybe speak too highly of that stuff, and you kind of want a perspective that's professional and successful at that level to say that, okay, this is not going to work, this song does not work, or this song will work in this way, try remaking it.
Someone who can hear it where it needs to. People that, you know, because sometimes you don't necessarily have to change anything, they just need to be able to come in and tailor to you. That's like the biggest lesson I've learned. Is my music is good and it's well written. Sometimes it's not where it needs to go because you just simply sung over someone who didn't know how to tailor to your key, and that was the right key, but you didn't know that. And what we've learned is just bringing in people that can tailor and that are skilled enough to do that, and that usually takes it to like 10 levels beyond we ever imagined it going, just having the right sound around you, and that's only through people who are as skilled as you and more skilled than you. I definitely know about like showing music to my Georgia. I used to always hype up myself and be like, this is amazing, it's going to be a hit. But she was also like, but you need to be like an EDM singer, you can't be doing your own songs and being your own artist and everything. So you know, it's really not what I'm doing at all now. Like it's completely, but I would honestly highly recommend like staying in an artist house for like 2 months whenever you can, whenever somebody is around, or whenever you're willing to leave home for a couple of months and do that, you know, because it's so, or even like if you have a week off and when you're allowed to travel finally, just use that week off to go and work in an artist house where, you know, where your contacts might be. You might be like, hey, I'm coming to Sydney, Mel, like in a couple of months, do you know anyone? And then you'll just just stay there for like the week that you've got off, and you'll meet so many people that are working or that are really successful in the States and otherwise, that are going to respect your music, but also bring even more skill to it. You might not be able to bring to it, and that you might need for it. Well, in the States especially. I think the best artist houses to stay in are in LA, but LA is also the most miserable place to stay in. So that's probably why, because they're so like craving happiness.
Yeah.
But artist houses are really, really fast ways to get your music out there.
I'll keep that in mind. You know, I'm so glad I started interviewing people, and I reached out to you, and I reached out to other people, because more than just having some content for my show, I've been learning from people. Like, I've learned so much from you today.
I learned so much from you today.
It's mind blowing. I would have never thought that I would have learned so much about the industry, like being an artist, how it is being an actor, how it is juggling both of those things, and the way you need to do it with your team, and meeting up with people, and the thoughts that you have as well, being someone who's been a writer, and being worried to put stuff out there, but also keeping that hidden deep down for a while until like someone else, you know, like how things have actually fallen in place for you.
Yeah.
With your hard work, you've been blessed to be able to have people who believe in you so much, that have taken you with them too. So
yeah, and that's what's happening for you. That's what's gonna happen for you.
I hope so. I'm so glad. I'm so glad we got to meet and talk, and I will definitely take that week down to fly down to Melbourne and come and see you. And
yeah, go to Melbourne.
Definitely gonna do that. I'm not gonna miss out on those opportunities, and it was really nice of you to acknowledge that what I'm doing and having that security is okay, and for it's okay. It's not something to look down on right now. And when I feel it, and when the time's right, I will be ready to lose that security and then go pursue what I'm gonna pursue. You know, that's something I want to do, and that's really awesome of you to describe your story in relation to mine and give me perspective. It was so awesome.
Wow, you're so humble. You're thanking me for so much stuff that you did yourself.
No, seriously, I almost, like, I've been getting goosebumps and like teary-eyed a little bit, and I'm just like, damn, this was so amazing. Thank you so much for talking to me today. It means so much.
This was honestly the most professional and also most what's the word, like grounded interview. Like, you've somehow managed to make it like pull on heartstrings, but also keeping it at a really high caliber of professionality. And while you're doing, you are being an artist right now by doing this, and while you have your security, you're doing this at the same time, which is the best thing you could be doing right now. Because I can honestly say I've done not that many interviews. I've done maybe like 3 or 4 interviews at this point regarding acting, and they're usually all over the place, and some of them can be really, really, really bad, and they can ask you some real disturbing questions where you're like, oh, this is the focus of the interview. It's supposed to be a gossip column or something.
Yeah.
Then my mother's a journalist, and she works at Bloomberg News, but before that she used to do political journalism and interviews with celebrities, and she honestly has a really high standard, and I've always been aware of where that standard was, and I honestly don't think it's been met in terms of my experience with the interviews until tonight. I don't know if that means anything, but it's definitely crazy that you're 22 and doing interviews of this caliber, honestly. On amazing questions, and amazingly humble, and amazingly grounded, and obviously very, very talented. So
Thank
I
you
really look
so much.
And obviously keeping in touch with you and seeing, you know, where you're at for sure.
Definitely.
And I'll update on project clips when they come out.
Definitely. I'm definitely gonna keep myself updated on what you're doing as well, because I'm just a fan of who you are as a person. Other than everything else I've been seeing, who you are has made my heart so happy, and I'm so blessed to have gotten this time with you.
Thank you. It's been amazing. Let me know if you need any information.
For sure.
Thank you, Angel. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.